Hey y'all, how we doing? Shout out to Bear Nation for tuning in for another episode of the Bear Necessities of Entrepreneurship, a podcast for the entrepreneur-minded, created by entrepreneurs, discussing the real stories that give you the tools to overcome challenges and stay true to your real self. As always, I want to give a shout out to our partners over at Fin. Fin is a social good platform that creates employee engagement and builds culture. We've teamed up with Fin to give back to the communities that we serve. For every episode, we will be donating $10 to the cause of choosing by our guest in the Fin platform. Enjoy today's episode. All right, Bear Nation, we are back again. I am excited to talk to you today, or to share with you today, the story of Klavdia Malysheva. I know I didn't do that properly in Russian, but Klavdia is a millennial entrepreneur and is the CEO and co-founder of a company called HowMuchTravel. HowMuchTravel is an app made for travelers to calculate the estimated budget of a trip, provide awesome recommendations, and save you time and money on planning trips around the world. Klavdia and her co-founders, Anton and Slava, built the company because they love to travel and wanted to create something that was easy to plan and manage a trip. Klavdia and Anton bought a one-way ticket to the US to build this business and are currently about to finish an accelerator program at Startup Ventures. So there's so much to get into. I'm excited. So Klavdia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, guys. Nice
Awesome.
to see you, Rob.
Nice to see you as well. And we're excited to have you on. And as I introed you in and, talking to you before the show and thinking about your story, you're going through an accelerator program. Y'all bought a one-way ticket here to build from Russia. Tell me, let's get into HowMuchTravel. Tell me about the company and what was your inspiration for building this company? Let's start there.
First of all, I'm a traveler. I have visited already 50 countries. And it all started when I was planning my big trip to Australia. Mm-hmm. As usual, I watched travel shows, bloggers, read guides, went through the site with hotels, flights, and entertainment. And I calculated everything in my phone, so in my notes. It took about 2 weeks, and then I bought tickets and go. The first time were magical. Kangaroos, koalas, great waves, Bondi Beach, amazing nature. But in the middle of third week, I realized that my money completely finished. Yeah.
Happens to us on a long trip.
Yeah. So I needed to open new credit card and ask my friends to give me some money. So Australia was much more expensive than the information on the internet told me. So it was a really big fail. Mm-hmm. At that moment, I thought how would be great to create something smart, like a website or a helper that helps find out the exact budget of your future trip and help every traveler. Mm-hmm. So with this idea, I was flying about 26 hours in the plane back home and thought about every minute. After the jet lag, I immediately went and to tell my ideas to my future co-founders. Mm-hmm. That time they were the most famous product developers in our city. And we spent several days in discussions and understood that we need to make a pilot project. So they liked my idea, and we decided to create a first chatbot in Telegram and Facebook, and speed up and reduce the cost of the process. So that moment began the story of HowMuchTravel. At this moment, the name just floated from my head, and we decided to be at partners, cheers with champagne, and start working hard.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, we talk about entrepreneurship, in this podcast a lot. It's called the Bear Necessities of Entrepreneurship for a reason, talking about where do you start to be an entrepreneur. And a common theme is when you have a problem. And for you, it was planning this trip. You spent hours and hours and hours planning a trip to Australia, only to get there and run out of money and kind of be oh shit, what the hell do I do? Yeah. There's got to be a better way to plan and optimize cash flow and travel. So I thank you for sharing that. And it sounds like, minus the running out of money piece, Australia was an amazing trip for you. And obviously one where an idea was born. So just out of curiosity, what was your favorite thing about Australia? When you were there, you spent quite a few weeks there. What was your favorite experience in Australia?
Amazing nature, amazing animals, amazing people, the most tasty coffee I ever tried. So, and everywhere is beautiful, everywhere. Yeah, just nature, beauty. I love that. So, you come from a small city in Russia, Smolensk. So what inspired, a small town Russian to want to travel to 50 countries? Like, where did this love for travel come from? I don't know. I think it come from my childhood. I love travel all my life. So I also adore to travel by car. So I drive all Europe by car. So I'm a driver traveler also. Yeah. And a funny thing that I visited 50 countries, but I afraid of flying. To be honest. Yeah.
So you're afraid of flying. And literally just before the call, we were talking about how you got in a helicopter willingly to sightsee over New York City. Talk about
no wine.
no wine, no doors on the helicopter. Talk about overcoming your fears, which is, coming back to that entrepreneur mindset. It's, even if something's scary, do it anyways. Lean into
Just
fear.
Do it.
Lean into that fear because the experiences usually turn out.
Yeah. And you just do it and feel so proud after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you just need to go out from your comfort zone every time.
I love that. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is a great place to live as an entrepreneur. So, I mentioned this in the intro, and so for context to Bear Nation listening in, Klavdia and Anton are part of the Startup Ventures Accelerator Batch 11. I am a coach at Startup and do a lot of work with them, so I've had a chance to meet with HowMuchTravel a couple of times. And the first time I sat down with them and we're talking, and I asked the question of, why the U.S. and what is your plan after the accelerator ends? And Klavdia looks at me straight face and said, we bought a one-way ticket. We're not leaving. And to me, that was amazing. So tell us, tell me of your story, kind of your trip to New York City, what brought you here, and why a one-way ticket?
First of all, I will tell you about how we decided to go here, how we find the startup. So as we are travelers, all our team are travelers, and so we went to mountains for a ski this winter. And one day I received later that our project is interesting to a company in New York City, and they want to call us with us. It was Startup Ventures. To be honest, there were too many useless calls in my life and letters, but so I didn't expect anything. So I agreed to make a call with them, but didn't realize the time, and I called them from the ski lift in the mountains. Yeah. Yeah, I constantly lost mobile connection, no video. And after that call, there was a feeling just it was a big fail. But they liked our project. They said they help startups to become global at an early stage. We're making a few more calls with them. So I remember one call, I said that me and my co-founder, we have the visa to the United States. Now it's really difficult to get this visa from Russia. It's too hard. And they said, we're waiting for you. So we buy one-way ticket full of ambitions and hope. And now we're here with my co-founder, Anton, and don't know what will come of it, but I'm sure that it will be interesting and amazing experience and incredible. It's already incredible. It's, so many people that we met here for this just 1 month is just like a life here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how come I'm not surprised that you would take that call from a ski lift? Like, no big deal. I'm just in the mountains having a ski. Yeah, let's talk right now about this opportunity. I love that.
I can tell about my startup on the ski lift.
Right? Okay. I mean, that's the kind of thing too, right? Is that as an entrepreneur, especially as a millennial entrepreneur who loves to travel, visited 50 countries already, and you're building a product to help others travel, it only makes sense that you'd be taking calls while you're traveling, right? That boundary of work and play really kind of blend together, that personal and professional. And, as an entrepreneur, you're living the lifestyle of the brand that you're building, right? Your brand essence is the way you're living, and you're building it out of passion, out of energy. As you just said, you have a vision to be here, and you're here seeing what happens, and you don't know what's going to happen after this. And I love that attitude of, you know what, we're going to come to New York. We're going to make this happen. We're going to go through this and learn as many lessons as possible and figure it out as we go. And that's all entrepreneurship is. And to see you embody that, I love it. So tell me a little bit about your team. So there's you and Anton and Slava. So tell me about your co-founders and how you got together, and a little bit of the story behind this dynamic here.
We have a very friendly relationship with my co-founders. We know each other about more than 10 years already. And each of us has own experiences. For example, I'm a traveler. I have traveled over 50 countries. I travel different places, like not so popular, like Honduras, Oman, Palestine, and travel by car to all countries. And I worked before. I planning trips for another people. So I made visas. So I work in the tourism industry before I started this business. Anton and Slava, they are my two amazing co-founders. They have their own IT company, which develops software. They have a lot of backend, front-end, and mobile developers. So your listeners can ask IT advice from the guys. They are so open for the questions, and they love to help. And also in our team, marketer, developers, designers, and now in New York we get our first advisor. Her name is Natalia, and she's amazing. So together we are in touch every day, so that the project grows and becomes better. So.
Love that. It's super awesome and helpful when you have friends like that, like Anton and Slava, who have that deep product knowledge and can help. A lot of times entrepreneurs have an idea for an app or something, but what they lack is the technical knowledge to go build it. So having that in your network to go build it, to cheers over a glass of champagne, to be like, let's do this together, let's see what happens. And the fact that, Anton and Slava, they're already founders. They have their own IT consulting business. They've gone through some of this. So the three of you coming together really made sense and an opportunity to build. And then it's great to have your team grow with marketers and designers and developers, and having a US advisor is a huge, huge help to learn and grow the market. So it sounds amazing how that team has grown.
I adore my team, and I can trust them 100%, even my life. So
so
I think it's so important also.
Well, and I know you talk about how much you love your team, and I have to ask, and how is it being co-founders with your husband, your partner? What is that experience like? How's that been in the dynamic of your relationship?
We are growing together every day.
Mm-hmm.
So at home we are partners. In the office we are co-founders.
Yeah.
So we have the line between our personal life and work life.
And I think that's super healthy. One, I think it's amazing to be able to, run a business with your life partner and one of your best friends in Slava, and having that as a co-founder group. But I think it's really important as millennial entrepreneurs, and as entrepreneurs in general, we let work take up so much of our time. And so when you live every day with your partner as a co-founder, it's really easy to fall in the trap of always be working. And so to setting those boundaries of what is the professional life and what is the personal, and grow together, I think is fantastic. And because I've got to meet the couple together and seen, some of their trips and stuff, their ability to balance that is inspiring. And I know for a lot of entrepreneurs that work-life balance is tough. And so to see you do that and build that out, I think is really cool. And I know that was a curveball question, but I just think it's really cool that you get to have your partner and one of your best friends there for every step of your journey. It just, it's a unique experience that not many people get, but I also know quite a few do. And it's a super cool thing to see how that's blossomed and grown, and will continue to grow from a both personal and professional level in y'all's lives. So,
yeah.
and one of the things that we talk about here is challenges, right? Growing a business is not easy. And we talk about the vision and the team, the love, and how much fun it's been. But let's talk about, what are some of the challenges that you've faced with your business to date in getting this started? What are some of the things that you've had to overcome as a company, and some of those lessons that you've learned that you can share with our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Doing a business and building a startup, it sounds very romantic and cool for many people. It is, yeah. But of course, every day we face a lot of difficulties, and one of them is the difference between Russian users and Americans. So it's we are trying to understand how work in US market. Also here in New York, everything is unbelievable. Everything is unbelievable expensive. So it's crazy. It's shocking every day.
Yeah.
And everybody here is late for meetings. I don't know why, which sometimes annoys me. Really.
That's because we have unreliable transportation. And even if the train is on time, it's always the excuse, hey, the train was late. And it's because there's a lot of people, but yes, I'm with you. As a Midwest boy, I grew up in a military family. Early was on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't bother. So I'm always the guy that's annoyingly early, to meetings, but I totally, I totally get you. Didn't mean to cut you off, but that's such a real, a real thing.
And about one more difficulties, to leave your comfort zone and comfort life in a small town and change the country and take one-way ticket to build a company here. It's a great experience for our entire team. But no doubt, guys, just do it, really.
I love that. even with the challenges, even with the hardships, you learn from that, right? And I think, something that you talk about and we've talked about before is, failure. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try something and it doesn't work, as long as you learn from it and listen to your customers. And that is something that How Much Travel embodies every day. So I love seeing that growth. And, cultural challenges are tough, right? And when you look, I've had the lucky opportunity to sell into almost every country. Most of the countries in the world, there's a few that I haven't, but quite a bit of countries I've sold into, talked to, done business in. And there's all these nuances. And so you have to learn and really take into account what that's like. And that's where having an advisor, having mentors and coaches really help lift you up, which you get through Starta. So tell me a little about, Starta called and gave you this opportunity. What about an accelerator program really inspired you to want to go through it? And how has the experience been going through an, offline and online accelerator, because this was a 2-part accelerator due to the pandemic and travel. So let's talk about the accelerator experience.
Yeah, because before our travel experience here to New York, it was 6 weeks for online program with amazing coaches and knowledges. In this time, we also needed to open as soon as possible the American company here. So we registered HowMuchTravel Inc., made it very quickly, and make a first plan. It sounds like to live in the center of Manhattan next to Times Square. Now we have already realized that it was a really bad idea. Visit all the main attractions of New York for inspiration. For example, I walk in 20 miles every day here. Yeah.
Easy to do.
Attract the first users and customize our app for them, because Starta use our app in Russia, and they say that we need to be flexible, we need to change, we need to make as more interviews here with US people as possible, and to change the app for them.
Yeah.
And we, of course, now the borders are closed, and we hope they will open soon. And we are waiting a real bloom of the tourism industry and fast recovery. Yeah. So I'm happy that I'm here right now.
Love that. And yeah, living in the city of Manhattan sounds amazing. But you learn really quickly. This is why I live in Brooklyn. I work in the city, live in Brooklyn. It's a little bit more affordable, a little bit more space for your money. But I love that, you're traveling by foot. New York the city is amazing. The different areas, and you could be walking one block and the next block, it's a whole different culture and change of scene. And so to leverage that to drive inspiration. And you're building an app, a travel app, when travel is almost impossible. Luckily for those out there, if you're listening, you can still use the app to book travel here domestically across the US. So if you're looking to go to LA or Phoenix, etc., you can still leverage that from the US market, and then hopefully trips to Europe. And I had a chance to play with the app and schedule kind of my listeners know I lived in Milan for 2 years, and I was in Milan right before the pandemic hit. In fact, the breakout happened and I had to get an early flight home. I didn't get to go to an event in Torino that I wanted to go to. I was supposed to be speaking at. And I've been wanting to go back to Milan and see all my, peeps, and then go down to Rome and, use the app to kind of budget out what my trip's going to look like when things open back up, and, know what my goal is. And so the app actually has a calculator program, right? You can build out your kind of dream trips and save those so you know what to put money aside for. So even if you're not traveling today, the app is great for when you are going to travel again, and to be taking account into market conditions. So, shameless little plug, but I love the app. I've played around with it as a user. We did a user interview, Klavdia and I did a user interview as well. And I think that's such an amazing thing, is that when entrepreneurs and businesses come to land in the US and expand, the first thing they need to do is not focus on sales. They need to focus on talking to potential customers, doing market research, listening to them, giving them a chance to test. And you've been doing that a lot lately. How have those, customer interviews changed the app or changed your vision of what you're building, or has it rather validated the idea that you have with HowMuchTravel?
First of all, we change every text inside the app. We have the chatbot form with questions and answers. So many users, then they open our app, just say, "Oh my God, this text is so bad. I don't understand what you want from me." So we changed every question and every answer, and we have a partnerships in Russia with Booking and Agoda, and we came here, and a US user said us, "We never use Agoda or Booking. We use Google and we use Expedia. So we texted Expedia, and we tried many weeks to be the partnerships with them. So we listen in our users, and it's so important to get feedback from them as much as possible."
Absolutely. And I love that. And right, you're using that to make the app better, to make the user experience, right? The one thing I can say that HowMuchTravel has done well, and if you download the app and take a look at it, you'll understand that the user experience, everything is done with user experience in mind. Click, tap the chatbot, the way you can say, "This is what I'm looking for," and then it asks you questions. That experience is forefront of the business. And also, if any listeners out there have partnership connections with Expedia and Google, let Klavdia know as they're looking to continue to build their partnership, relationships. So, with that being said, here in a couple weeks, right, June 24th. So this episode will be dropping the 17th. So about a week after, if you're hearing this now, a week from now, June 24th. HowMuchTravel will be participating in their demo day and their startup showcase, and make sure to check them out and listen to them. So with that being said, with you preparing for the pitch event, how are you feeling? You excited to pitch? You excited to be able to, showcase all that you've learned? Tell me about how you're feeling about, the pitch event coming up here in a couple weeks.
First of all, I hope that my customers and every people who would be watching demo days and be on demo days offline will understand my startup, understand my idea, and it's too difficult to pitch on the second language, on the different language. I can pitch on Russian even in the night. But pitching in English, it's a big challenge here also.
Yeah. And
so I hope that we will find maybe angel investor or somebody with chemistry between us, and after demo day, I will start something new.
Yeah. Keep pushing the business, right? Take the next step in the adventure. So obviously, right now you're seed funded, looking for or pre-seed funded, looking for angel investors to help scale the business. From a user perspective, what are you looking to accomplish in terms of growth over the next 30, 60 days? What are some of those growth goals that you're looking for and really pushing towards?
We want to attract as much users as possible. We want to show our traction, that in May it was 0 users here, and then in the end of the summer, we have 5,000 users and some annual subscriptions and some purchases. So we need to share our growth. And I think if users will like the app, we would be great.
Yeah. So really looking to get new users, get people to test out the app, show that traction. For those out there listening, I will link the app in the show notes. Go download it. You get, I think, 1 or 2 free calculations to test out. And then
2 free calculations.
There it is. You get 2 free calculations. Test out a trip. Try it out. I will have Klavdia's information in there. Reach out to her. Let her know what you think of it. Provide, offer to be a user feedback survey because they could use that, and that'd be a huge ask out of my community. But would love all you in Bear Nation to share some feedback. Download the app, test it out for free, and share some feedback with the team. And we're excited. I'm excited I'll be at that pitch event. Excited to see you do it. I know pitching in a second language is tough, right? And we've talked about this a lot. Yeah. It comes down to, just being authentically you and intentional about what you have done, where you're going in the vision, understanding that it's okay. Everyone there knows that English is not your first language. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and just share that vision. Bring out that personality of the company, right? What I love about this company is that the co-founders embody the mission of the business, which is travel and the love for travel. So I'm super excited and really looking forward to that pitch event. And I've loved hearing about your story and how you've overcome fear and failure to build an entrepreneurship endeavor, to build a business with amazing co-founders, one who happens to be your life partner, which is awesome. So as we close this out, we do a few questions that we ask all of our founders, and it's kind of leaving them with a lasting message. So a question to you would be, what advice would you give Gen Z, millennial entrepreneurs, or anybody who's entrepreneur-minded and thinking about starting a business? What advice would you give to them right now?
My advice for them, for you guys, don't be afraid to be wrong. Mm-hmm. Mistakes are experience. Life is really too short not to try something new and try to do it. I would definitely regret if I had not overcome my fear and live in my hometown here and build a startup. It's better to regret what you did than what you did not.
Yes.
And dreams don't come true if you do nothing.
I love that, right? Dreams only come true when you work for them, when you put intentional and authentic action behind them. And, I love it because one of the things that you embody from your growth and from the company's growth is this being curious, right? Going out and learning. And in fact, you said to me earlier, the thing that I really, as you just said, you don't want to regret anything. It's no one's going to do anything for you, right? You need to not sit still and wait for something to happen. You have to go make it happen. And you said that earlier. I was like, that is such a key thing. And that you've embodied that through overcoming so many challenges in your visa to get here, challenges of cultural diversity and understanding how to best align culturally. The English language is not your native language, so how to speak. Yeah. And here you are about to pitch at a big event at the end of the month and just making things happen. All your fears coming to a head to speak and pitch the company in English, and you're leaning into it. So I think that's wonderful advice for entrepreneurs. Just do it. Go out. Get it done. And don't be afraid. Yeah. So I always like to ask entrepreneurs this. What is your superpower? My superpower, I'm open-minded and a really easygoing person. Mm-hmm. I open for everything. And my next superpower, I cook incredibly tasty. I love it. Well, if you're traveling so much, you have to be learning amazing dishes and food to cook. And I love that. Be open-minded, right, to everything. Be easygoing. Embodying that, you can learn from everyone and everything you do. And that kind of goes back to the advice, don't sit still. If you don't go out and learn, if you don't be open-minded, you're never going to be open to what comes back into you and how that can help drive your dreams forward. So I love that. What is one book, resource, show, or piece of content that you would recommend right now for somebody to read, watch, consume?
Now it's really a lot of materials in the internet. So I read about business and startups on Forbes, Inc., Bloomberg, and other similar resources. And for travel inspiration, you need to read Jules Verne. And after that, let's go, guys.
I love it. Some great resources and materials there for those to listen. And I have, Forbes and Business Inc. and Fast Company all saved with like Google Alert updates. So I get, email. I also have, Morning Brew, The Hustle, newsletter subscriptions to always be learning as well. So I love that. So as we close this out, what is the lasting message that you want listeners to take away from this episode?
Hey, Rob, I can hear you.
Okay. And we're going to... You froze out. You back? You good?
Yeah, I'm back. Okay.
No worries. Perfect. We can edit that out, so not a problem. So I'm going to ask the question again. So take 2 of the question. So as we close this episode out, what is the lasting message that you want listeners to take away from today?
Don't be afraid. First of all, travel as often as possible, discover new places, because travel is an experience that stays with you forever. Meet people. People are an incredible resource. And of course, before every trip, use the HowMuchTravel app to save your time and money.
I love it, right? As somebody who... I didn't start traveling till later in life. I, waited, and my experience moving to Italy and spending 2 years abroad and traveling the world was absolutely amazing and has opened up to so many people, experiences, things. So I love that. Don't be afraid, be open, be kind, be curious, and travel and learn.
Yeah.
Right. The only way we can grow as a people, as a race, as humans, is to interact with others and experience amazing things that travel brings us to. So I love that as a lasting message. So where can our listeners find you? What are the socials and places that they should be looking to reach out and provide some feedback and connect?
So they can find me in Instagram, and my personal account is Klavdia. And also, please follow the HowMuchTravel _ app and give me your feedback or some ideas or share your experience. I'm very open to meet everyone and talk with everyone. So I'm excited.
I love that. Love that. Such a millennial. Instagram. So I'll make sure to have both those Instagram handles tagged in the show notes so you can easily find it. I'll also have the app tagged to the Apple and Google App Store in the show notes for everybody. Let's share some great feedback with Klavdia. Download the app. You get those 2 free calculations. Share feedback. Klavdia, thank you so much for being a part of the show, sharing, some of your challenges, some of your fears, and talking to us a little bit about, the wise words of be kind, be curious, and don't be afraid. Be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Or be comfortable with being uncomfortable and making things happen. Yeah. So thank you so much, Klavdia, for being a part of the Bear Necessities of Entrepreneurship podcast.
Thank you so much. It was so fun and so interesting. And I'm so excited and a little bit nervous. So thanks that you invite me.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on. And I can't wait to come to the pitch competition on the 24th and watch you, crush your pitch in English. So looking forward to it. Everybody, thank you. That's it for this episode of the Bear Necessities of Entrepreneurship. We'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bear Nation, once again, thank you for listening to the Bear Necessities of Entrepreneurship. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. And until next time, take care.